Hello, everyone. We are calling this ghostly landscapes tracing the early Anthropocene through ALS scanning. Now, I'll be your face and the voice for this poster session, but I've been working on this topic together with Teodora, who is also here, and hopefully she'll join the discussion. Now, we actually have to start with explaining what the Anthropocene really is. It's a geological era that is proposed by geologists, biologists, as well as evolutionary biologists, people who study ecology, etc. And also archaeologists are getting more and more concerned about this the topic. Basically, the Anthropocene is a human era or a human epoch, which has been proposed in the 1970s because it has been noticed that humans actually start having a major influence on our nature and landscapes, etc. So the scientists decided to actually name the whole era after the humans. So it got the name Anthropocene. Now it's uncertain when exactly did the Anthropocene start. So it definitely started as late as Second World War with Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bombs, because at that moment the whole Earth's surface actually got a new geological layer, which is a radioactive one. But archaeologists usually tend to say that the Anthropocene actually started way earlier, some even claiming that it started with the first human use of fire and the first human emissions of CO2 into atmosphere. But usually the beginning of the Anthropocene is considered to be early Neolithic and the starts of sedentary life and permanent settlements. So what Teodora and I decided to do is basically question ourselves whether we can use ALS scanning, or widely known as LiDAR, to trace the early Anthropocene. Now, we cannot actually trace the whole geological layer called the Anthropocene in the whole world using LiDAR, but we can definitely trace some little climate issues, some microclimate or microecological issues on some regions. Now, there are plenty of examples of good practice using LiDAR to trace the early Anthropocene. By far, the most commonly known ones would be in modern day South America and Central America. We chose to show you an example of a Cabalo site in modern day in Belize, which has revealed the whole city, the whole Mayan sites. And actually, what has been noted by archaeologists is that they recovered the whole system of agricultural terraces, which you can see to your left. And that definitely had to have a major influence on microclimate, because humans are the ones that change their landscapes in order to do agriculture, in order to build the settlements, in order to provide water supply, etc. So that's how a good practice in Americas actually showed us that it is definitely possible to trace the early Anthropocene at certain places from a certain time. Now, what's our question? What was our goal is to actually see how we can do it in Serbia. Now, unfortunately, Central Balkans, and by that I mean in the first place, Serbian archaeology is still far behind using LiDAR data to investigate archaeological sites, and it has only been a few archaeological sites in Serbia that have been scanned by LiDAR. One of them is the famous Caričin Grad, the 6th century fortress, which actually revealed the whole system of water supply basically there has been built a dam was built in order to supply water. There have been water towers. A whole aqueduct was shown in LiDAR data, which you can see on this image, on this DTM actually. So that's the way we, and you know, Serbian archaeologists explained what they saw, but they never actually thought about the impact of those human structures on local microclimate or on local ecology, on local ecosystems, and it definitely had to have an impact, like fish that lives in that rivers, or local plants, etc. So what we actually wanted to do is give a proposal, since we didn't really have our own data and our own research, which we can show you results with. This is more of a proposal, what should be done and what could be done in present-day Serbia in order to actually trace the early Anthropocene, and that's why we called the whole thing ghostly landscapes, because we cannot see most of the things, so one of the things that we wanted to emphasize is the potential of certain parts of Serbia. Most of them are more modern day forests, which is the most useful tool for LiDAR, is the most useful tool to examine those landscapes. So, for example, in eastern Serbia, you have traces of the most the earliest copper mining in late Neolithic period, and that copper mining had to have a major influence on local landscape as well as the local climate, because you have to build a whole system of communications, of roads, of settlements in order to actually go and mine. So that's why one of the areas we propose in order to actually do LiDAR research is that part of, it's called Majdanpek, the city in eastern Serbia. Also, there are several examples we know from literal sources, sorry. For example, that in 2nd century AD, when Roman Emperor Trajan decided to build a bridge from modern day Serbia to modern day Romania across Danube, they actually changed the whole course of Danube River in order to actually build a bridge, and then brought the river back, which is an infrastructural miracle at the time. But definitely had to affect local climate and local landscapes. So we also believe that in areas such as that, LiDAR data can help us recover the earliest possible Anthropocene, and that overall landscape archaeology and remote sensing can help us, as I already said, trace and find the earliest human impacts on local ecosystems and on local landscapes.